So remember to subscribe, share, Chann Berry Show on YouTube. And we're talking to my buddy and the guest, Rahsaan Patterson, artiste. Artiste. Now we're talking about your parents.
My
So
parents.
they met
So my
at a club,
a party.
a party.
Yeah, a party in New York somewhere. Um so recap. Both my parents were creatives.
Hmm.
Um Mother graduated from Performing Arts High School, New York, Ben Vereen and Glenn Turman.
Hmm.
She traveled to Los Angeles with a repertory and dipped her toe in the pool of um,
Acting.
Hollywood life,
Hmm.
acting.
Hmm.
And then she went back to New York and met my father at a party. And I was a result of that meeting.
Hmm.
And so my mother never further pursued acting
Hmm.
because she had already had my older sister.
Hmm.
Um, and then I came along, and my dad came. My dad came first, obviously, but uh, then I came, and so like many people who have to adjust
Mm.
their lives and
Mm.
um, put dreams on hold
Mm.
or be rid of them entirely.
Mm.
Um, then they ended up having another child
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
So, they were young. They were 26, 27 years old with like three
Hmm.
kids,
Hmm.
um, in New York City in the 70s. And so my dad, he was a singer, and my father's side of the family, uh, his mother and his sisters were a gospel singing group
Hmm.
on the East Coast
Hmm.
circuit back in the 50s,
Okay.
60s. And so he had the gift of singing also and
Hmm.
musicianship in my family on my father's side. Um, he was also an athlete and didn't get to pursue fully to the extent that he wished he had
Hmm.
due to religious reasons.
Hmm.
You know? So he ended up um, working state jobs, foster care, um, worked for New York Police Department for a little while. He is the reason, though, that my love and passion for music exists
Mm.
because he made an effort to connect with me through music
Hmm.
and share uh, the knowledge that he had
Mm.
about all of these people.
Hmm.
Everybody we talked about,
Hmm.
he played their records.
Hmm.
And he would wake me up in the middle of the night, weekday. You know, he would be out, go to work, and then be out, and then come in 3, 4 in the morning,
Hmm.
and wake me up, and he would play music. I'm asleep, my sister's asleep, mother asleep, and he would come in lit,
Hmm.
but in the mood and like, you know, he loved music. So, and my bedrooms were always right on the other side of the wall where his turntables would be set up.
Hmm.
So he would come in, he would play music, and I would instantly wake up, and be excited about the experience, the moment that I knew was coming.
Hmm.
So he would come, he would put a song on, and it wouldn't be super loud, but it would be loud enough to where light sleepers would absolutely wake up.
Right.
Um, and he would come in my room and he'd say, "Son, come here, listen to this." And I would stand there, and he would play let's say, just a portion of a song where a guitar riff was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And he would play it over and over and over until I got what he was trying to point out.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't go back to bed until he saw
Mm-hmm.
that I got it,
Mm-hmm.
that I heard
Mm-hmm.
the melody. And he would be explaining the elements of what makes the songs what they are.
Mm.
The instrumentation,
The
what the
arrangement.
bass line's doing, yeah,
Mhm.
the arrangements, what the
Mhm.
bass line is doing, and then what the guitar's doing to counter what
Mm-hmm.
the horns might be doing, you know? So he dissected it and he opened me up to be able to dissect the music.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a gift.
Mm.
And as I have gotten older and have relationships with children in my family, cousins who I have the privilege of being able to watch grow and support and love, I see how intentional you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he was intentional with me.
Mm-hmm. Is he still with us?
No, he passed away in 2000.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. But yeah, he was intentional with that.
Hmm. That's the year that a lot of things happened in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
What about your mom?
She's here still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's your relationship with her?
Oh, it's my mom. You know, mothers and sons. Her only son.
Yes.
My mother, she, for all the reasons that she did, she set me on the path to find my artistry. You know, my father informed me, educated me on the importance of having an ear,
Mm-hmm.
um, being able to, again, dissect elements of what make a song great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my mother, when the opportunity came for me to pursue that path to artistry, she was the one who decided that's what I was going to do. So it was like a team effort.
Yeah.
Not that it was a planned thing.
Mm-hmm.
The phone call that came when I was 10 after singing in a talent show in the fourth grade, phone call came from Tootie's mother, Chip Fields, and she had heard that I could sing because her nieces were visiting her, and she happened to ask them, "Do you know little black boys that can sing?" Because she was scouting talent for the show that I ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
And her niece was like, "Oh yeah, my friend's little brother can sing." So she called my house. I was in the bed, and my mother answered the phone, and they had a conversation about what was going to happen. They both graduated from Performing Arts High School.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Fields did also, so they had that connection. And my mother comes in the room, and she's like, "Hey, Rahsaan, wake up. Tootie's mother's on the phone. She wants you to sing for her." So I'm like, "Okay." Get up, go in my mother and father's room. My father's not home yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I get on the phone, and Chip Fields says, "Hey, baby, can you sing me something real quick?" So I sang my favorite song at the time, which was "If Only You Knew" by Patti LaBelle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the song I sang in the talent show in the fourth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I sing half of the first line. I didn't even get to finish it. And she was like, "All right, put your mother back on the phone." So I go back to bed. And the next thing I know, My mother comes into my room. She says, Rahsaan, wake up. You're going to pack a bag because you're going to go to California tomorrow and you're going to audition for a TV show. And if you don't get the part, you'll stay with them and she'll take you to Disneyland and then she'll send you back home. But if you get the part, you're going to stay with them until somebody from our family comes out. And so we then pack a bag for me. The next morning, my father is driving me around to say goodbye to my family. And I get on a plane and I go to Los Angeles. Never been on a plane before. Never been away from my family. And
you're 10.
And when I get off the plane, I see Tootie. I see Penny's mom, you know, who burned her with the iron.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Alexis, the younger daughter. And she says hello. They give me hugs. We get in her Mercedes. I'll never forget it. She had a brown four-door Mercedes. And we get in the car, and my whole life has now become something else.
Mm.
I don't know these people. I know of them. And I'll never forget driving from LAX over La Tierra and then over La Cienega
Mm-hmm.
and turning on Pico in La Brea because she had Chip Fields had a conservatory
Mm-hmm.
there called Rainbow Connection. And, you know, full of young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Heath was a choreographer. So they were working on productions and the play and all that kind of stuff. And we pull into the parking lot and we walk in and they're rehearsing for a production that they're putting on. And as soon as I walk in, everybody stops. She tells everybody, hey, this is Rahsaan Patterson. He is going to be joining us and he's going to be in this production. Okay. So this is Thursday. The phone call came Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
This is now Thursday. She never intended on sending me back home. And I knew in that moment,
This is it.
this is it. Like, I'm not going back home to the life that I knew before.
Mm-hmm.
So she immediately put me in the play. And my audition was Friday for the TV show. So she took me to the audition the next day, Friday, and I started work on Monday.
Rahsaan, you got kidnapped.
Right. Into show business. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a heavy lift for a 10-year-old.
Yeah. It was. And I didn't realize how heavy it was until more recently.
Really?
Yeah.
You more recently, like the last 10 years?
10 weeks. It had been circulating over the course of the last 5-6 years, you know, the effects of it.
Mm-hmm. So you've been walking with this since you were 10?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I was always very attached to my mother. So when the phone call came and she was so matter of fact about what I was going to do, it's like something snapped in me. And I just said, okay. and I just did it, you know?
Because mom said do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was almost like I didn't have a choice, even though, if I could have been like, I don't want to, but
That didn't happen.
it didn't
That
happen.
didn't
Something
happen.
in me snapped
Snapped.
and felt like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, you know? Um,
Hmm.
but again, prior to that moment, I clung to her, you know? Um, and then all of a sudden, I was on my own.
Any resentment?
Um, there might have been some before I was able to reconcile that it happened the way it had to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also because I don't know what my life would be like without art.
Well, if you're asking the person who's sitting in front of you, I don't think you would be here.
Right,
To be honest
right,
with you, to point blank, I don't think you would be here.
right. So when I look back, again, back to the intentionality of how to really support and foster a child's gifts,
Mm.
my parents did that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a period, though, I will say, shortly after my father had passed away, that I thought, is this what I wanted? I had to
Mm.
ask myself, whose life was I living really,
Mm-hmm.
as an artist, a
Yes.
creative,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
both my parents were those people,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't get to pursue it. Um, but with that, I also know that I am someone who could just be in limbo, you know.
Mm.
So I've always had direction and support
Mm-hmm.
from people who saw what I possessed before I had a clue.
Yeah.
You know, um, in a lot of ways, I've played catch up with myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, from my grandmother to my older sister to chip fields. The level of support has been tremendous,
Mm-hmm.
and making me aware that I possessed something that was worthy of sharing with the world.
Mm-hmm. Would you act again?
Probably, yeah.
Good answer.
Probably, yeah.
With the right piece, you would act again.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, buddy.
I definitely have a desire to be behind the camera in terms of directing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you started writing stuff?
I have not. I mean, not for uh, anything outside of music.
Man, write a short.
I know I've thought
Write a
about it.
short. Write a short, something that's close to you that you want
Mhm.
to talk about, be it drama, comedy, romance, or horror, but let it come from you. Write that short, somewhere between a 5 minute and a 15-minute thing,
Mhm.
and just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what you have everything around you that you need to make that happen the right way.
Agreed.
And I'm one of them.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
And I would love to do that.
Okay.
Because now,
Thank you for that.
because the reason why I said the acting thing, because I'm thinking about something for you.
Ah.
Oh, well, my head is like,
Mm.
okay, he might run with
Hmm.
this. So I know we don't have enough time, but not enough time left. But acting, your fans would love to see you do that.
Mhm.
especially as a seasoned grown man now
Mm.
who's lived some life, who's experienced some life, and had some things, and lost, and gathered, and all that, and succeeded. There's a lot to pull from
Mm.
as an actor, as you pull from as a performer. The other thing is that when can we expect an album? Because it's been since 19
Well, 2019
yes,
slash
yes.
2021. Um, I'm getting back into it. Um, the last album, Heroes and Gods,
Mm-hmm.
um, that statement was a statement that brought me to understanding that I didn't need anything else to say. I didn't have anything else to prove,
Understood. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also don't like to rush and try to force anything like that
Mm-hmm.
creatively
Mm-hmm.
to produce an album that's not
You.
right. And I had gone through a little spell where I was like, do I even want to again? You
Mm.
know? Um, but that passed,
Mm-hmm.
and I just needed time, and I needed inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's always the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it got a little tricky because after so many years of doing this, you know, it kind of it can wear you out.
Yes.
And if I don't have anything to say, then I'm not just gonna
I
have
agree.
shit to say just to.
Yeah.
However, I started collaborating with Louis Vega,
Oh my God.
and
You know, house is the house is the thing,
well, yeah,
as we both know.
yeah,
House is house.
yes. So he
Whoo.
had hired me to he and Kenny Dope, so Masters at Work.
Yeah.
Um, I got to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what I loved about working with them was the environment in which they record.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got the musicians in there laying their parts down before you come in.
Mm-hmm.
When you get there, they're laying their stuff, and then you're gonna sing while the horn players are waiting. So like everybody's in the studio.
Yeah.
So that energy that I recalled having when I was like 18, 19 years old and
Mm-hmm.
working with Keith and
Mm-hmm.
doing demos for people in
Mm-hmm.
LA and
Mm-hmm.
studio environments that were conducive to creating good art.
Right.
Um, so the experience with them made me reflect on that. And that gave me some stimulation like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I need
Mm-hmm.
to be inspired to want to make another album.
Mm-hmm.
So working with them has inspired me.
Kind of opened you up a little bit.
Yeah, it
Okay.
did. It really did. And I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. So and that is happy we gonna be
Yeah.
when you put it out.
Yeah.
Because if it's anything like, if it's half a house and half all half ballads or
Mm.
up tempos, we gonna be straight. We gonna be straight.
Yeah. So they've inspired me to want to forge ahead and create my next album.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I just needed to warm up,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So we're at the end of this conversation.
Mm.
which I really, really enjoyed, Rahsaan.
Likewise.
Um, uber talented,
Thank you.
nice dude. Um, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You are you. That's when that's
Mhm.
I've always said that about you. You are you, and there's no one else like you. Thank God. It only needs to be one of you. That kind of power,
Thank you.
that kind of power, that kind of consistency in what you want to give and how you want to make people's lives happier
Mm.
with that kind of music, that kind of feeling, that kind of vibe that leaves a footprint that once, like, well,
Mm.
he was here because he left it right here. He was here because he left it right
Mhm.
here. So,
Yeah, thank you for that.
yeah.
Um, in a lot of ways, like I said earlier, my output, recording wise, was giving it back to Shaka and Stevie, and Prince and Michael. Like if they ever heard it, it was to let them know that someone was paying attention, you know,
Hmm.
and giving it back to them.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I know that you make the ancestors happy, so that's the most important thing. That's why you will always be supported.
Mm. It's a
Because,
privilege.
yeah, because where we come from,
Mm.
we were prayed to this point
Mm-hmm.
under grace and ease.
Mm-hmm.
Under
Mm-hmm.
grace and ease, we were prayed to this point.
Mm. Right. It made me just think of how my grandfather, my dad's father, they lived in Queens, and so they were not far from JFK. And when I would go on walks with my grandfather, he would take me to this field and we would watch planes take off.
Hmm.
And he would sit me on his shoulders and he would say, one day you're going to be on those planes traveling all over the
And it happened. Beautiful moment. But in many ways, since he's not physically here, I'm going to use a phrase that I use: painfully beautiful.
world. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so lucky to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you said it, I saw the vision.
Mm-hmm.
I had it all worked out. I just saw the little boy on his grandfather's shoulders, a little black boy on his grandfather's shoulders, which is even deeper,
Mm-hmm.
in the field, looking at the plains, and one day you're going to be up there,
You're going to be on those planes traveling all over the
over the
world.
world.
Which in this moment I realized most likely played a part in what switch went off in me when my mother said, "This is what you're going to do."
Mm-hmm.
So that was he was preparation also for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And in my subconscious, perhaps I knew that this was going to be leading me to that,
Mm-hmm.
which he could see
Mm-hmm.
and share with me often. That was our grandfather grandson buddy walk
Mm-hmm.
was always to the field to watch the planes
Yeah.
take off.
Wow. I don't know, man. I don't want to end this, but I've got to because all good things must come to an end. But this has been a good one for me.
Likewise.
This has been a
Thank
good
you.
one for me. Um, I think you should move to Paris.
Mm.
That's
It's
Spirit.
one of my
Just
favorites.
Spirit just said
It's
that.
one of my
Spirit just
favorite.
said it to me. It's like, tell
Listen,
him to move to
it is one of
Paris
my favorites.
because it's one of my favorites.
I love it there, and have
And
envisioned
always,
it
yeah,
as a place to live
yeah,
for sure.
and it works for us
Totally.
as creative people, African American men who go to Paris because there's a pathway there already that was already set up
Totally.
in the 30s and the 40s.
Yes.
And we just fall right into that situation and we'll be taken in.
Every time I'm there,
Come on, man.
it's
Stop.
very that. But I also love Bern, Switzerland.
Yeah. That's hot too.
Yeah.
That's hot too.
Yeah.
We talked about Prague one time.
We did.
Because you shot in Prague.
I did. Yeah. Where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty hot.
Thank you.
That's pretty hot. So listen, everybody. I'm sorry. We're way over time, but we're in good time. So thank everybody for joining us. My special guest, Rahsaan Patterson, and please follow him, get to him, go see him, buy the records and the CDs that are out. Is anything on vinyl yet?
Promotional.
Because I've been looking for vinyl forever.
Promotional vinyl from Love and Stereo is out there. Some singles from After Hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just gotta search.
I gotta search them out. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get an album this time.
Yeah.
Get some vinyl.
Yeah.
So do me a favor, subscribe and like, and thank you for joining us on the show. God bless.